Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a fantasy movie review and I'll be having a look at the fantasy horror film Night of the Dead. So this is a production by the same people who brought you Dragon Crusaders. It's directed by Mark Adkins, who's been responsible for many a low budget mockbuster. And it features a lot of the same cast and even the same locations that we've seen in the before mentioned Dragon Crusaders, etc. So the story focuses on a group of knights who are sort of escorting a priest who is carrying a holy relic, which could or could not be the Holy Grail. And we're told in the prologue basically that most of the population has been wiped out by the Black Plague, and here we find out it's gone one step further and now is bringing people back from the dead as zombies. Not only that, we have a kind of group of sort of mercenary killer types on the trail of our heroes for no apparent reason. And really, it's just the story of these sort of knights who are very unconvincing looking knights, I have to say, generally basically to try and get this Holy Grail and the priest to a desired location. Along the way, they kind of pick up this sort of female who they kind of refer to as a witch. Anyway, so that's the basic plot. So on a plus side, I would say on a technical level, this film is relatively competently made. It's that the cinematography isn't too bad. Some of the sort of photography, is fairly decent here, and there's some some good sort of scenery and things like that in regards to some of the outside shots. There's some like castles and lots of nice woodland areas and things like that. So it kind of looks quite pretty in regards to its sort of scenery and stuff like that. But I'll be honest with you, that's pretty much the only praise I can give this film, because it's failed so badly on every other level. So, staying on the technical note, it has a kind of really weird washed out look to it. So it kind of looks like there's barely any colour. So I thought, well, I thought maybe there was something wrong with it first of all, but it's obviously meant to be this way. But it just makes it look very dull and dreary. And I realise we're looking at a kind of zombie film here, but nevertheless, it does kind of make it kind of just very sort of dull to look at. The main problem you're going to have here is the acting, and all of these films by this kind of group of people that I've seen have been uniformly bad, and this is the best acting you're going to get here is going to be kind of average and right back down to absolutely terrible, and it's sometimes it's absolutely cringeworthy. There's a couple of, like I say, maybe what I consider average performances at best, but for the most part it's overly pantomime, way just like it just sounds like they're kind of reading it straight off a script, and it's just terrible. Now, obviously, this being zombies rather than kind of dragons and more that fantasy stuff that in previous films, there's kind of less in regards to obviously the stuff like CGI, and obviously the effects are more to do with obviously makeup and kind of cheap gore effects, which I suppose makes it a little bit better if you're not a fan of the sort of cheapy CGIs. But I wouldn't say the zombie effects are particularly good either. There is a couple of decent shots. I will say this. There's a couple of shots early on in the film where you just see like almost like a field full of like zombies kind of in the distance. That's the sort of the missed parts. And it's a computer generated shot, but I think it's quite effective nonetheless. But other than that, the zombies just kind of, sort of growling people with sort of blood and dirt smeared on them and stuff like that. So I don't think the makeup is generally all that effective. I guess the other main issue here is none of the actual characters have any character. There's no time is spent really building up any characterization of any of these characters. So you really don't care about them. The kind of priest, I suppose, is a strange kind of annoying, whiny character. It's just not unlikable characters, and all the rest just seem like a group of dullards. They don't seem like knights at all to me. Not that I know what knights that are like personally, but you know what I mean. You've seen them in sort of popular culture and films before. They seem more like mercenaries rather than kind of like knights or templars and things like that we've seen in previous films, even in these productions. So there's very little I can recommend about this film, unfortunately. It's dull. It's just not interesting, and I like medieval films and I like zombie films. You put these two together and you thought you went to a winner, but unfortunately I found this incredibly dull. It's just not. It's not an interesting film. So simple as that. I'll give it 2.5 out of 10, and that's more for the technical issues that I thought that were probably fairly well done here. But that's really the only thing I can suggest, unless you just are really interested in low budget British horror films. So there you go, 2.5 for me. Leave me a comment and let me know what you thought about this movie. Bye for now.